Why another BRIAR nerf? She's too high win rate. Like, that's simply... There is a win rate that we will not let champions in League of Legends go above. And BRIAR, despite being not that good in high MMR, has a higher win rate than we're willing to allow in League of Legends. 54%. That is too high for League of Legends. We don't let champions be above 54. And BRIAR is above 54. So we're nerfing her. Part of this is she's feeding on Skarner players. Skarner is one of the most popular junglers right now, and he is incredibly weak. So part of this win rate is probably BRIAR just devouring Skarner players. But also, this last patch, we finally fixed Sundered Sky's bugs with her. BRIAR used to have a thing where if she Q'd you and she had Sundered Sky, she would lose the crit, and that's no longer the case. And so this patch, BRIAR was actually very meaningfully buffed. No one really knew that was the case, but it was. Like, she was buffed by about 2% this patch. So we need to follow up nerf her because that's just too powerful for her. So yeah. Anyways, if you want to play BRIAR this patch, she's actually pretty good, as long as you're not in super high MMR. She's, the Sundered Sky buffs were like pretty meaningful for her. Well, the Sundered Sky bug fixes. So yeah, that is the reason we're nerfing BRIAR, despite the fact that she's like, you know, maybe not as good in like challenger play. And especially in lower MMRs, she is very, very powerful. And she was buffed this patch due to bug fixes and whatnot. What do we think of the state of JHIN? He was in pro play at the start of the season, but seems to have fallen off. So JHIN was powerful at the start of the season because his items were powerful and his playstyle was powerful. At the start of the season, a lot of crit and on-hit characters weren't as good, and the best thing you could do is go lethality and one-shot people, and so JHIN was like pretty naturally fit in there. As we've tuned down items, JHIN's kind of fallen behind a bit. All his lethality items have been nerfed, and you know, some of his competitors in the crit space have gotten buffed, as well as his competitors in like the on-hit space. So he's just not as strong as he was at the start of the season because the meta has changed around him, basically. So we think he probably has room for a little buff. Yeah. Another note about BRIAR is that if you want to play BRIAR in high MMR, there is a way to play her. Nobody does it, which is a shame. But BRIAR is a very, very powerful top laner. So again, no one's really doing it, but BRIAR top is really good, even in higher MMRs. So like, obviously it's not like the best thing ever, but like, if you go take a look at BRIAR, excuse me, her top lane has a 53% win rate, and her win rate in top is like pretty variant, but you'll notice it doesn't really like crater in high MMR like her win rate in jungle does. BRIAR's win rate, oh, actually it's not that bad in jungle. Oh, but that doesn't account for the fact that these aren't, never mind, I'm trolling. Don't listen to this data because I forgot, like, Lowalytics doesn't, this 54% win rate in Diamond for BRIAR is not necessarily true because you have to consider that the average win rate in Diamond is like 51. We have like internal data on BRIAR's win rate overall, and it's actually generally lower for high MMR than these data tables would suggest. But anyways, what I'm saying though is BRIAR top, I see a lot of people in GM talking about how they one-trick BRIAR top and bully people. And by a lot, I mean like a couple. And so I don't know. I think BRIAR top is secretly stronger than people think. Sorry, I was going around in circles there. TLDR, BRIAR top. Play it. It's legit, I'm sure. Disastrous Ocelot, I've been hacked on Discord. Thanks for the 18 months, dude. And I'm sorry you've been hacked. That sucks. I had a friend a few days ago who told me that they got hacked and they were like negotiating with the hackers to get their stuff back. And I was like, I would not negotiate with the hackers to get your stuff back. They'll probably steal your money and your other accounts and then not give you your stuff back. And then a few days later, he sent me a message that was clearly from someone who had hacked his account trying to also hack my account. And I was like, yep, that's rough. Will we ever have Tenacity affect Airborne? I hope not. Never say never, but as of right now, it is intentional that Tenacity doesn't affect Airborne. Not everything in the game should have counterplay. Some things should just work, and Airborne is one of those mechanics that should just work. It ensures that the mechanics that have Airborne always last a very specific amount of time, which is very important for the way some characters work. And if we didn't have that ability to do that, we'd have to compensate by making those characters have OP CCs if you don't have Tenacity. So as an example, Yasuo Q lasts a very short amount of time when it knocks you up, so he can ult off of you. If Tenacity worked on Yasuo Q, we would have to probably double the duration of Yasuo's Q knockup, which if you're an AD carry, you probably would not appreciate. Yeah. Now that said, if there's a problem with knockups not being affected by Tenacity, I think it's that sometimes we use knockups when we shouldn't. I think that's the actual problem. I think there are some characters that have knockups that just shouldn't be knockups. And the only reason they are knockups is because, you know, the character, it felt good on the character, but there's a number of knockups in the game that probably should just be stuns. And so I'd rather, if we have a problem with too many knockups that you can't reduce, I'd rather make sure that we are only doing knockups in the places where they make sense, as opposed to making it so knockups can be reduced by Tenacity. I think it's generally good that we have a CC type that's just going to always be a fixed duration. It also is like, there's just certain like CC spells that wouldn't make sense if Tenacity worked on them, like Lee Sin ult or Blitzcrank Q. It's like, if you could lower the duration of the stun, how does it even work given that they're pulling you to a place, right? Like, that would not be ideal either. So yeah. Rancor, thanks for 5 months. Where have you been? I've been sick. Is NAAFIRI jungle still on the table? And I wouldn't say it's off the table. My personal opinion is we should let her jungle. I think that would be a good idea. But I'm just a guy.